Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to check the Hobbymate D6 Dual Lite Smart Dual Channel Battery Charger and the T240 Smart Power Supply that will enable you to use it as an AC charger. In this video I'm going to go over their features and specs and show you how to use them. Just like the D6 Duo Pro charger, which I've been using now for a couple of years, the D6 Dual Lite is rebranded by Hobbymate and manufactured by Hota, which might not be as known as ICDT, but after charging close to 1000 packs using the D6 Duo Pro, I can attest that they manufacture high quality and reliable products. In terms of specs, the D6 Dual Lite is very similar to the D6 Duo Pro, so it will enable you to charge up to two 6S batteries simultaneously. It has a maximum output power per channel of 300 watts or 15 amperes, and its DC input voltage is between 10.5 to 30 volts. The big difference, however, between the two versions is that the D6 Duo Pro features a built-in AC power supply, whereas the D6 Dual Lite is a DC-only charger, and if you'd like to for an extra cost, you can purchase a compatible AC power supply. As for packaging, inside the box of the charger, you can find only the charger itself and a quick start guide. And inside the box of the T240, along with the power supply, you can find an XT60 adapter that will enable you to connect it to the battery charger and a pretty long AC cable. Now I'm going to quickly show you how to use the charger with or without the power supply. On the front side of the charger, you can find two channels that will enable you to charge two batteries simultaneously, and on each channel you can find an XT60 battery connector and a balance plug that will enable you to charge up to 6S batteries. On its top side, you can find a color 2.4-inch IPS LCD screen, a scroll wheel button that will enable you to adjust the different settings, and another button that will enable you to toggle between the two channels and go back to the previous menu. On its back side, you can find an XT60 battery connector for powering the charger, and as I mentioned before, the supported DC input voltage is between 10.5 to 30 volts. You can also find a 5 volts 2.1 ampere USB port for charging your USB devices, and a USB Type-C port for powering, for example, your computer, as it has a maximum output power of 45 watts. On its right side, you can find a micro USB port for updating the firmware of the charger, and a server plug for testing servers and radio receivers. On both its front and back sides, you can find ventilation holes, and on its back you can find a fan that is going to kick in when the charger is going to get too hot. And finally, on the bottom of the charger, you can find foldable legs that will enable you to use it more conveniently when placed on an even surface. As for the T240 Smart Power Supply, it has a maximum output power of 240 watts. Its supported AC input voltage is between 100 to 240 volts, and its DC output voltage is 29 volts. On the front side of the power supply, you can find a 5 volts 2.1 ampere USB port and a Type-C port with a maximum output power of 45 watts. Just like the charger, on its bottom you can find foldable legs. On the top side of the power supply and on the bottom side of the charger you can find magnets, so the charger is going to be easily attached to the power supply, and using the provided XT60 adapter you'll be able to connect the charger to the power supply. In addition, on its own, the D6 Dual Lite Charger weighs 283 grams, and together with the power supply, their total weight is 591.5 grams. As for using the D6 Dual Lite, in case you've previously used similar chargers, you're going to feel pretty much at home. Switching between the two channels is done by short pressing the channel button, which also double acts as the exit/go back button. After selecting a channel, by short pressing the task/settings scroll wheel button, you'll be able to enter the task settings. Under this menu, you'll be able to select a task. The first one is power supply, then charge, discharge, external discharge, which is going to discharge the battery that powers the battery charger, storage, balance, regenerative discharge, which is going to discharge the battery that is connected to your selected channel and use this power in order to charge the battery that powers the charger, and sync charge, which will require you to use both channels simultaneously and then will enable you to set the maximum output current to 22 amperes. Next, you'll be able to set the battery type. According to the selected battery type, you'll be able to set the end voltage per cell. Then you can set the cell count, which is going to be automatically selected in case you are going to use the balance plug. Next, you can set the current setting, and keep in mind that in case you would like to set it to 15 amperes, you'll need to use either the power supply or provide the battery charger with a minimum input voltage of 22 volts. Now you can see that I'm charging the connected battery. Over here you can monitor the battery voltage per cell. On the left side you can see the charging settings. So over here you can see the task, the current, and the total milliampere hours that the battery was charged with. After about 10 seconds, you'll be able to monitor the cell resistance by scrolling the task scroll wheel button to the right. So over here you can see the resistance per cell. And by short pressing the scroll wheel button, you'll be able to adjust the current or stop the charging procedure. As for setting up the charger, it is done by long pressing the scroll wheel button. Here you can see the task parameters, so you can adjust the following settings. Next is the system parameters, so you can set the language, adjust the settings of the regenerative discharge, set the maximum input power, minimum input voltage, adjust the LCD backlight, adjust the volume, which is currently turned off, set the completion signal, and configure the device name. Next, under Tools, you'll be able to use the servo output, so you can use it for PWM measurements, servo tests, and testing PPM signal. You can also calibrate both channels. And finally, in addition to performing a system self-check and viewing the system information, you can restore the charger to the factory settings. So overall, after testing it out, I can tell you that the Hobbymate D6 Dual Lite is a very capable charger. And by the way, I didn't go over all of its features and specs, so in case you would like to use its advanced settings, I recommend to check the user manual. In addition, I think that you should consider whether to get it or not based on your charging needs. So for example, if you charge your batteries mostly at home, the D6 Dual Pro might be a better option for you because it's going to be more convenient. And in case you charge your batteries also on the go, the D6 Dual Lite can be a good option, but it might be an overkill for you in case you charge smaller batteries, and then you'll be probably better off with a cheaper field charger. Anyway, that's going to be it for my review of the Hobbymate D6 Dual Lite and T240 Smart Power Supply. And as always, I thank you for watching this video. In case you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments section down below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notifications bell if you're not already subscribed. See you on my next videos, and goodbye.